Good morning, Tommy.
Good morning, Mario.
This is not going to be a formal one. This morning I have Tommy Mydlo. Tommy is a real estate agent with Preferred Real Estate Brokers. And Tommy is one of my closest friends. And so I wanted to bring you on when I started doing these things, but I wanted to get really good and comfortable with the camera and the microphone before I brought you on, because I think this is going to be a fun one. Tommy, tell me a little bit about yourself. Obviously, this is real estate geared, so tell me sort of how long have you been in the industry, how you got started, what was your first impression of the industry, and then we'll go from there.
Great. First of all, I want to say thanks for having me. When you started doing the podcast, I was like, wow, I wonder if he's going to have me on. And then 2 months later, I got asked, and it was like Christmas morning. No. So real estate wise, started, this is probably going on my 5th year in real estate. Was in professional sales for 10 years before that. I sold lighting products to Disney World and was with a great Fortune 500 company doing that. Did a little bit more project sales in the lighting side of it, LEDs and energy efficient stuff, and then got asked if I would be interested in joining a team, real estate team, and doing real estate. And at the point I was like, listen, I know there's a long kind of learning curve to get into real estate, building the pipeline and working that. And the team I got to join said, hey, we'll work with you, we'll train you, and we'll get you some mentorship and kind of work it through it. And the market was 5 years ago, it was pretty hot, So I decided to take the leap and get licensed, which, not being in a classroom and doing that, was kind of a little nerve-wracking to start that process and the training, and then actually taking the licensing test. Past that, and really haven't looked back since.
It's a very difficult decision to make, to go into real estate. But so that people know kind of the mindset that you were in, you are the breadwinner for your home. Correct. And you have 4 children. Well, they're not children anymore, but they were children 5 years ago. Sure. So you have 4 kids. And sure. When you make this leap of faith, like you say, there's nothing guaranteed. There's no salary, there's no income until you start closing some deals and get that pipeline going. When you started the process of training in the industry, what were some of the things that really made a difference for you? And this is something that I kind of want to hone in. The more of this podcast that I do, I want people that are listening that are perhaps new to the industry to know sort of where to seek value, where to look for value, things that are really going to make a difference in their career.
Yeah, so coming on and joining, for me, I feel like my journey wasn't just getting thrown in the deep end of the pool and say, okay, now you're licensed, now you're a realtor, now go out there and list homes, sell homes, do that. The training program that I started on a team as a buyer's agent. And I think that really, really helped me learn that side of the business, because working specifically with only buyers, not having to worry about listings at all, I think really, really helped in that process. If people are listening and they're thinking about getting into the industry, there's 2 sides. Are you going to do it as a part-time thing, keep your regular job, get licensed, and then try to work it in there? Or are you making this leap to be able to go in? And again, it could be a good 3 to 6 months of literally no income coming in. So if you're going to make this your full-time career, what does that look like? How much of a safety net or money do I have put away to be able to start this process and do it? But because I was able to start as a buyer's agent, I really feel like learning contracts was huge. Being able to present a contract to a buyer and understanding what that is. Leads, how the leads were coming in, how the buyers were coming in was huge. to be able to have those. Being on the team, those leads were pretty much handed to me. But as I started too, I was able to bring in my own sphere and start working some of those as well too. So I had leads coming in from the team I was on, but then also working with family and friends and saying, hey, I'm in the industry, I can help you buy or sell or refer the seller, and then actually work with the buyers and help them find homes. So I think that was a great way to learn the business, learning the buyer side first and not being overwhelmed with everything real estate.
I think there's a bunch of things that are really interesting about your journey. And so one of those things is from the day that you started, no one ever asked you, no customer ever asked you, hey, how long have you been doing this? Because there was a sense of confidence from the beginning that you always had. There is also some sort of kind of like non-tangibles that you had, natural abilities that you had. You are the consummate people person. Like, you are the guy that talks to anybody. I mean, if we go out to lunch, you will have a conversation with 3 strangers by the time we finish lunch. That's just what happens every single time.
Sure.
And so I think that made things a little easier for you in the sense that you didn't have to come out of your shell to do something that wasn't natural for you. You were doing the same things that you always did, only with a real estate slant to it. You would kind of be like having these conversations with people, and naturally they will find out you were in real estate, and then they would become your customers, and then they would love you from that point on.
Sure.
You were in the team for a number of years. Very successful buyer's agent. I was in the same team as a buyer's agent. A lot of the training that you received came from me, so I know your story very well. And then when did you decide, like, what goes through your mind when you decide, you're going to do this thing solo? Because when you have a real estate license, there's a number of opportunities. You can work for a builder, you can work for timeshare, you can do solo real estate, you can be in a team. Like, how did you decide, I want to do this single agent thing and kind of work every aspect of the business?
Well, before we get into that, the other thing you asked before too was about, with your career, mentor wise, and again, I know this is your podcast and that side of it, but you being able to be there and be that mentor through that whole buyer agent process, having somebody that daily that I could talk to and say, what does this mean? What do I do here? I just hung up with this person, and having that person. So, to go back to answer your previous question first real quick, if you can find that mentor in the business, somebody that you trust that's willing to kind of sew in a little bit to you as well too, is really, really going to be important. Find somebody that maybe that you admire in the business, or if it is on a team or something that you work out. But that mentorship was huge. I think it helped. I think I was able to fast forward maybe a year and a half where it takes people to go, that I was able to get up to that in 6 months because I had that mentorship coming from you, and I appreciate that. Making the jump and the leap, sometimes decisions like that are made for you. I was pretty happy on the team. I had closed 40 deals, buyer side transactions, my last year with that team. I don't know if I was even so much ready to go on my own, but circumstances the way they were, I had been looking in some other avenues of other options of what I could do in real estate. But it came to a point where it was time to make a break, and you make that leap, and you go hang your license somewhere else. And I think that was important too, of leaving the brokerage that I was and making a clean split and starting with Preferred and talking with Jose, yourself of course too, and saying, hey, you know what, I think I'm going to do this on my own. Getting signs made and starting a marketing plan and working your sphere and that side of it. All those things they're super scary. There's no doubt about it. There's a lot of fear that goes in with that. But as you know me too, I'm kind of a man of faith, and I put my faith in that. I had a pretty good track record before. I had a pretty good sphere. It helps if your wife is on board with it as well too. Certainly. Because if the wife isn't on board, that could be for some big issues. What I had before my sales career, I worked at Walt Disney World for a while. I was a machinist, a project planner, and I actually left Walt Disney World to go into sales to go sell light bulbs. That's what I told my wife. And she's like, "You're gonna leave a stable career at Disney to go sell light bulbs?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's gonna be great." And anyways, it was lighting products, but having her on board with the transition of leaving the team to go to being my own business, my own, as my own real estate company, that really helped. And again, having great mentors, a great brokership. I can't say enough about Jose and what he brings. He's just, it's funny when I talk to people about Jose specifically and preferred real estate brokers, Jose's cool. Yeah. He's just cool, collected.
It's funny, that's how everybody describes him. It's just calm, cool, and collected, which is unusual because a lot of people in this industry are very high-strung, very sort of confrontational.
Yep.
When you made the leap to become a single agent, like you said, so you came from a team where your responsibility was to receive these buyer leads, convert them into contracts, and get them all the way through to closing, and do that as many times as possible, on a weekly basis or whatever the case might be.
Sure.
And so then you decided to go on your own, and when you go on your own, now you have to worry about listings, now you have to worry about marketing, now you have to worry about social media presence, now you have to worry about having a website. You have to worry about all these things. Did you just jump in and say, we're gonna, did you take it one at a time, or did you have sort of a methodical plan when you switched and said, okay, let's get this off the list, let's get this off the list?
For me, it was more of the shotgun approach.
Yeah. Because you still have to make money.
You still got to make money, so you got to be converting contracts and be able to do that. Before I left, I had a pretty healthy pipeline, which really helped.
Mm-hmm.
And the agreement that I had with the team that I was leaving, that pipeline would stay in place. So that was really important, that side of it. So, but as you say, the checklist of that, I'm still working through this. In November of this year, it'll be 2 years that I've been on my own. So working that process through it. I've lived in Claremont 20 years now. Mo and her family and my family, we've got a pretty big family and a pretty big sphere, which really has helped. I haven't purchased any Zillow leads or anything from Realtor or that side of it. My Facebook presence is pretty good. My wife's in ministry. We help out single moms and their kids, and we've got a thrift store that we help that helps run the ministry and that side of it. So a lot of the buyers and process that I've had have come through that and that sphere, which has really helped. So it's twofold. I get to help a single mom buy a house, and help mentor her kids and certain things. So that works out great too. But when you talked about an actual methodical list, I'm still going through that list of what it looks like for marketing. The website is just getting up and running. Here I am 18 months later, but it does take, here's that process, getting signs and making what that's going to look like. Your new business cards, what are those going to look like? So checking those things off the list, the basic things that you need. The whole listing side it's a whole different side of the business. So that's a big challenging, filling out the matrix form and having that done. And when you list, and just a listing agreement is different than a buyer side contract.
Right, because a lot of people don't know that. So, but when you are in a team exclusively as a buyer's agent, like yourself, so you got licensed and came into the team, you'd never seen a listing agreement in your life right up until that point, because that was just not a part of your operations. That's not a part of your business. And so, one of the things I always liked about you, and I use you as an example a lot, and the people listening to this, I want them to sort of take that from your story, is you're not a guy that shows up to every class. You're not a guy I've never in my life seen you at a social real estate event or a happy hour. I may see you at a broker's open occasionally, where we're talking like very sporadically, because your approach to this is my job. And my job between the hours of whatever to whatever is going to be, talk to either my current customers, my past customers, or my future customers. So you are prospecting very actively. throughout the day. And in doing so, what you've done is you were able to transition from buyer's agent to solo without having a lag in your pipeline. You built up that pipeline very rapidly. And then you're also very good at saying, when you don't know the answer to something, you're not one of these guys that's trying to like fly by the seat of your pants and like figure it out. You have no problem telling someone, hey, let me get that answer for you. I don't know it, but I'll find someone who knows the answer to that. And I think that's been really helpful. And the contrast to that, from what I see oftentimes, is people that are getting started on their career and they think it's all the classes that's going to make them or break them. It's showing up to every single class that their office puts on. It's showing up to every single happy hour event, every single networking event, and they think that's going to make or break their career. And it's troubling because I know that doesn't work. And so what that does is it consumes a lot of time for those people, and you've never done any of that.
Yeah, and it's funny you're saying that, because again, I go back to the wife. We're like, well, what are you doing today? You know, and it's like, well,
your accountability partner.
Exactly. She totally is that. And I want to work, like go to work. And again, visiting new construction places and connecting and knowing what's going on in the market and that side, you know, so that you can bring that value back to the customers. I never saw a lot of the networking stuff with other realtors as being super beneficial. I mean, it is good because you want to bounce some ideas off and some things like that. Again, it really helps when you do have that mentor to be able to bounce those ideas and that side of it. But then in the other hours that you're trying to work, you're networking with somebody who could possibly be a client, not a competitor. There's plenty of realtors, everybody knows a realtor out there on that side of it, but it's like, I want to get to that buyer. I want to be able to help that person who wants to list their home or wants to buy an investment property or whatever the deal is. I'm not afraid to get creative with deals as well too. So and to try to make things happen. But some of the classes are helpful, specifically in the early stages. Contracts are so important. You need to be able to do that. You need to have a good broker that you can call and pick up the phone and they'll call you back, because you need that answer right then and there when you don't know the answer. You're like, hey, I'll get that for you. How quickly can you get it back to that? And I think that's been part of my success too, is I don't mind jumping. I'll jump around rather quickly. And if somebody calls, I try to call them back as soon as possible. I don't put them out as far. You do have to be careful in this industry because it can consume you and be able to do it all the time. It can be 9 o'clock at night and you're still picking up phones and do that. So finding that balance can get a little bit crazy. There's some people that turn off their phones at 6 o'clock. I don't really know how you do that as a single agent and really be able to keep that. If you have a team, if you have people that are going to help pick up that slack and be able to do that. But when you're on your own, you're wide open. And again, with your accountability partner on that side of it, if you've come to an agreement that, hey, I'm going to chase these things and be able to go at them quick, I think that really helps as well too. But again, you don't want to get too consumed where it's like, you can do this job 80 hours a week.
Of course.
And be doing it. But you can also do it 40 hours a week if you're not spending 20 hours at another broker open and smoothing with other real estate agents. You know, you're just like, I don't know what more I can learn. I know what a contract is. I know what I want to go out there and find that next client, really.
You mentioned that this job can certainly take over your life.
Yep.
In that, our cell phones are attached to our hip, and the cell phone has the email and the text message, and so it's very easy to be sort of plugged in all the time. What are some things that you have done to be able to kind of create a balance? Because again, married, 4 kids, about to be a grandfather, like you have a busy life. I mean, you guys run the ministry, the thrift shop. How do you balance all these things?
My mornings have become a lot more structured, because really, in the business, most people are working that 9 to 5. So I can schedule my mornings out a lot better. That's some time for the wife and I to kind of reset and kind of schedule the day. Once, 10, 11 o'clock comes in there, then it can start getting chaotic. and you're kind of working through there and doing your follow-ups and kind of talking with people. So really having a morning routine for ourselves has really helped to be able to do that. But again, you really need to be flexible. If you're going to be on your own, you're going to be running this, you do need to be able to have that flexibility when a house comes up and pops up, because the market's still pretty decent. The good properties are selling faster than others. You've got some people that you're working with. You need to jump and be able to get on it and be first to market, first to that house, and be able to schedule those. Evenings are a little more chaotic because that's when people are off. They're getting off of work. They want to see a property, and then of course on the weekends as well. Telling people no, or just or trying to massage that no to how it works. If my son's got a baseball game, I want to be present at the baseball game and enjoy that. And then afterwards, no, hey, this game's going to end at 1 o'clock, so 2:30 I could probably show a property.
So you set some boundaries.
Set some boundaries in there, and just to be able to process that side of it. But again, this is this industry is certainly not for the faint of heart. I've been in professional sales and done other things before. This industry it's a little bit different. And when you would ask me about being on the podcast, one of the things I definitely want to say, you can do everything right all the way up to the day of closing, and then it doesn't close, and you have not done anything. And that's different for a lot of industries, where you do regular work and you do really, really good work and everything's tight, and something not in your control stops you from getting a paycheck or stops you from closing. And that can take a toll on you, and you need to definitely have a thick enough skin to know I did everything right.
You did all the work.
I did all the work and actually did it really well. There's times that we forget something or drop the ball or do whatever. Everybody does that. But you really got to be able to get over that and get over it quick, to be able to reset and want to work with somebody, and say, hey, I didn't do anything wrong and I still didn't get paid. And that's different. That's a different, I think that takes, you and I talked about it the other day. It's 80% of the people that get into the business are out of it in a few years, or whatever that statistic is, to be able to do it. So to be in it for 5 years as a pretty successful buyer's agent,
I think it's a problem of expectations for a lot of people.
Sure.
One of the things that I always hear when I talk to a newer agent is they get into the industry because they want the flexibility of the schedule. And so, one of my infamous lines when I'm, teaching a class or something along those lines to newer agents is like, when they told you there was flexibility of schedule, they didn't explain to you what that means. That doesn't mean you are allowed to pick whatever schedule you choose. That means you gotta be flexible to work whenever the buyers want you to work and whenever the seller wants you to work. So that's a different kind of flexible. You're not flexible to take time off whenever. You are flexible because if that person can only see homes on a Sunday at 8 o'clock in the morning, you're going to see a home on Sunday at 8 o'clock in the morning. And so expectations make everything better. And so I think that's the best thing we can do in the industry, especially for people that are coming on board, is to talk with people that will talk clearly with them and give them a set of expectations that's going to match up with the reality of the industry. What you just said, you can do all of the work right up until the closing and still not get paid because someone else or something else happened that was outside of your control. And you have to be able to live with that, dust yourself up, and go talk to the next customer. And I've always used that sort of the Tetris analogy, that your mistakes in this industry pile up, and that's a kind of a mental thing. Yep. I mean that on a mental level. Like if you have 3 deals canceled in 1 week, that stuff starts piling up in your head and you start losing confidence. And when things work well, when everything is right, those don't add up. That gets wiped away. And so, you have to have the mental fortitude to be able to get a win and say, that was awesome that I got this win, we closed this deal, everybody's happy, on to the next, and start the next one with the same mindset that you had before that closing. Yep. And you have to also be able to do the same thing when it doesn't work out. You have to be able to kind of pick yourself up and say, it didn't work out, but the next one will. And just kind of, and I think that's the part where being self-reliant and self-motivated is very important, because yes, there's coaching and, self-help books and motivational speakers and whatnot. And generally that can juice you for a minute. Like I've been to some of these things, and you sit down, and for the 2 hours for the day or for the weekend, you're like juiced on, you're high on this positivity, but you don't have that guy on your shoulder talking to you all the time, and so then something knocks you down, and if you don't have the ability to be self-reliant and self-motivated enough to say, you know what, that's not going to keep me down, we're going to move on from here to the next thing, it's going to be tough to make it in this industry because you don't really have a supervisor.
No, you're it.
You're it.
You're, you know, people are like, well, treat this like a business. You're the business owner. You turn on your open sign at certain times and off, and when you do it, you are it. And you're right. I think a lot of people, they see that the flexibility. They see big commission checks. They're like, they can do 3% and 2.5% of whatever the price point is, and they look at that side of it. But again, when you talk about those things, I remember, you know, going from a buyer's agent and splitting 50-50 on deals and that side of it to my own deals, you know, so that pretty much doubles your pay, which is great. But now there's a larger tax liability. There's the marketing side that comes out of it, setting your business up as a real business, as an S corp, and wanting to do those things and making, you know, it's funny. I was talked to the wife about it. I'm like, I got to make payroll every week now.
Yeah.
And she's like, it's just, you know, you keep talking about making payroll. It's just you. But even in that sense, you know, I'm looking that way, that like, okay, I'm going to get a payroll check. So I got to fill it. There's got to be enough money in that account to be able to do that. But you're right. Being it can be such a blessing. And it's on you. You can work this as much as you want. You need a little extra money, grind it out a little bit more to be able to do those things, and if you don't, you can back it down a little bit when it's a little bit quieter, and you can go and not have to, you know, push off a call here or there, or take a day and go to the beach and enjoy it, to where you didn't have to take a vacation day or you know, only answer a couple calls. So that's a blessing as well too. But you're right, the self-reliance side is huge, but you've got to have that fortitude to be, like you said, to be able to reset real quick, because everything's going to look like it's smooth sailing. We're going, and then somebody's going to do something stupid. Hopefully it's not your fault, but even if it is, you know what? And being your own business.
And the more deals that you do, the more often it happens.
Yep.
That's just the function. If you're only closing 5 deals a year, you probably can close 5 deals without any kind of headache.
Yep.
When you're doing 30, 40 or more, you know, like that's when things start, you know, the issues start sort of adding up, because now you're working with a bigger number of people. People don't realize closing one real estate transaction sometimes takes 6, 7, 8 different parties. I mean, you have a listing agent, but you have a buyer's agent. But on top of that, you have inspectors, you have a surveyor, you have insurance company, you have mortgage company, you have title company. You know, you have all these people involved in the transaction. So if you're doing this even 20 times a year, that's a lot of people that you're working with. Someone's going to make a mistake. It's just a human thing. You talked about this, and I kind of wanted to sort of close with this. You are definitely a man of faith.
Yep.
I admire that about you and your family very much. Mo has been a very outspoken faith leader in the community, particularly with mentoring women and single moms, folks that need help in the community. And I want you to tell me a little bit about how people can see some of the work that you guys are currently doing. Tell us a little bit about the thrift store and how real estate agents also can get involved with that aspect.
Sure, that's great. So about 8 years ago now, we started our ministry. It's called Unforsaken Women. And what that was is, it was really, God put it on Mo's heart to help women renew their mind in God's Word. Mo struggled with anxiety, terrible, early in our marriage. And really finding her faith and renewing her mind daily in God's Word has really set her free. So she took on that to start writing and teaching, and started Unforsaken. Unforsaken comes from Joshua 1:5, where he says, "I'll never leave you nor forsake you." The Lord says, "I'll never leave you or forsake you. Be strong and courageous." And that came right out of Joshua 1:5. So never forsake you. We'll kind of put the word "un" in front of it. So that's how Unforsaken was birthed, and she teaches a Bible study once a month to women. We get anywhere from 50 to 100 women come out. We started a thrift store because it was hard to get donations and people to help and support the ministry. We started a thrift store that's right in Oakland. It's called Unforsaken Treasures. So if there's real estate professionals that have really, they're looking to get rid of nicer clothes we sell, nicer furniture, it just blesses the community in that it helps single moms and their kids. We help pay water bill, light bill, certain things like that. We do a man training program. This is kind of more like a Big Brother program to a lot of these single moms kids. And then we also have a school in Haiti that we help to support that gets 100 kids in Haiti, gets them a Christian education and helps feed them. So everything is real local, and then we have our global mission that helps in Haiti as well too. So it's been a great blessing. Claremont, Mineola, Winter Garden, Oakland. This area is just, there's no doubt it's thriving. And I think it's got a lot of great faith-based community leaders. There's amazing churches. The community foundation is great. New Beginnings. I could list a number of the community things that are going on, all circled around faith. And that faith in Jesus and what it means. And my life is so much more blessed and enriched by being able to help others, right? Our mission really, it's a pretty simple one: love God, love people. So if you're going to love people and you're in the real estate industry, you've got to go and help them. And for myself, I base my business on just treating people like it's my brother, like it's my cousin, my aunt, my uncle. That's the way that I've kind of based it. That's how I'm going to just continue to do it. Hopefully that it succeeds that way, and it helps. The Unforsaken Treasure side, really, again, if you've got donations and things, you can connect. You can go to Unforsaken Treasures. Unforsakenwomenspecifically.com is our website, and you'll see all the different avenues of where you can give and how you can.
Yeah, and so there's two things. So you guys have a Facebook page, which is Unforsaken Treasures.
Yep.
So if people follow that page, they'll see some of the stuff that comes up. Sometimes it's clothing, sometimes it's tools, sometimes it's furniture.
Yep.
It could be a number of things that you guys are putting there for like a couple of dollars. People can come and buy, and now it's become kind of like a boutique for teenagers.
Yep.
That they come and they do this great wardrobes out of there. And so a couple of things that I've been a part of that I think everyone, especially people with kids, should really kind of look into is you guys every year have Santa come, and the pictures with Santa are awesome because you don't have to do a line for 6 hours to get a picture with Santa. When your kids are cranky, he spends the day there, and then you guys, all the toys that are donated to you that are in good condition at that time, this last year you guys put them outside, and people were able to come with their kids and kind of fill a bag with toys like free, so that no kids go Christmas without having toys, which was one of the coolest things that I've been a part of. So anyone listening to this, should definitely check out Unforsaken Treasures. If you're a real estate agent, a listing agent, and you have that seller that's like, we're moving to another state and we can't take this washer and dryer, or we can't take this bed that's in good condition, or this clothing that's in good condition, you can arrange to have it picked up, and it's all pretty seamless, right?
Yeah, and it works really well too. And I wanted to mention too, we also have a food pantry that we run in partnership with the Lakeside Church, but it's actually at the store. So that's one of those things too, where locally, if somebody needs some food, they can stop off at the store. It's kind of nice because we kind of keep it really kind of low key, but it's also like if you know somebody that does need food, they can stop off at Unforsaken Treasures and pop in there and be like, hey, I need a couple bags of food. Or even if they want to pick up a couple bags for a family and be able to do that, we do that as well too. So it works out. It's just about community. All the clothes that get donated, not everything goes out on the floor. Really, the nicer stuff kind of goes there. But then we have another ministry that we partner with, Symphony Salvage. They actually bundle it up and send it all over the world. They'll drop big bundles of it in Africa and different places. So pretty much any kind of clothing that even if it doesn't, it's going to be utilized. And it's just great. And it's great that it's local and global as well too. So it's pretty awesome.
Thank you for coming, Tommy.
Thanks for having me. Forward to it. Thanks, buddy.
All right.